here's the message I really try to convey to people of why this is such an important election is we're the only state in the union that term limits our governor to 1 4-year term. And Governor Youngkin is now halfway through his term. We've only got 2 years left with him at the helm, and we are not guaranteed another Republican governor in 2025. And so we have got to hold the House and flip the Senate this year so that we have those 2 General Assembly sessions with Governor Youngkin in the governor's mansion so that we can get Virginia back on the right path and get us set up for the next 10 years. Because we have, after 8 years of McAuliffe and Northam, we a lot of our policies are a lot more like Maryland than they are like North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia. And we got a lot of work to do on a lot of fronts, but we can do it. And we've got somebody who is very smart in Governor Youngkin and a strong leader. And this is our shot is this year to get it done.
Hello, my name is Matt Daniel. I am the chairman of the Spirit of VMI. Today is September 20th, 2023, and it's about 6:30 in the evening. Tonight we have Glen Sturtevant, who is a candidate for Senate District 12, I believe, if that's correct.
That's right.
So tell us about Senate District 12. Give me the 4 corners and all that stuff, and then I'll go on mute.
Yeah, so Senate District 12 is most of Chesterfield County. It's the western half of Chesterfield County from the city line in the north, Bon Air, all the way down through Midlothian, Hull Street area, Matoaka, Winterpock, and then all of the city of Colonial Heights. So it's about 250,000 Virginians, about 90% Chesterfield, 10% Colonial Heights. I live in Midlothian in Chesterfield County, and married to my wife, Lori, of almost 20 years. We've got 4 children. Oldest is 13. Our youngest is almost 10 months. So we are busy and sleep deprived, but having fun and very blessed. And all of our kids, we've been very blessed to have adopted, and they're all doing great and growing. And we got 2 at football tonight and 1 at soccer tonight. And so we're just out and about. But my wife's a school teacher here in the county. I am a lawyer, went to George Mason for law school, and I've got a small firm, about 4 lawyers, 14 people total. And we specialize in representing veterans and their family members in cases with and against the Department of Veterans Affairs. And we do that in all 50 states, all over the country. It's federal work. And we're one of the only law firms in the country that has that specialty area. And we're right here in Richmond. And so the district, as you asked, is mostly Chesterfield, but also Colonial Heights, which is an awesome, solidly Republican, hardworking community that hope to be very fortunate to represent.
So that my mom and dad lived in Bon Air, basically off of Huguenot Road, and so I'm pretty familiar with the portion of it in Midlothian and all that, and I know Clint is also, because he hails from that part of the state as well. So I'm sure that he'll give you that. So we won't keep you. I know you got football practice, like you said. That's great, and you wouldn't do it any other way. And I think
That's
all
right.
of us enjoyed that to some degree, and all that. So, what do you think are the things? First of all, how's it going?
Yeah.
And what mechanisms are you using to know how it's going? And then what are the key issues that make you different than your opponent? Over.
Yeah, so things are going well. This is a Republican leaning district. It's not a super bright red, 80% Republican district, but it's a 53-54% lean Republican district. It's one that we can and should and have to win and hold. to support Governor Youngkin and get his agenda through the state Senate and take back the state Senate. But it feels good out there. I go door knocking every night after work and all day Saturday and all day Sunday after church. And it feels good. People are still, I get asked a lot, what are the top issues you hear about when you're talking with voters? And I think it's no surprise that inflation and the economy and the cost of stuff is really a major issue for most people. It's something that we're all feeling and is affecting every aspect of the economy and is making it really difficult on people. Education a couple of years ago, when you guys got started, education was probably the number one issue when people's kids were stuck at home on Chromebooks, and when they got to go back to school, if they did, they were having to wear masks all day long. That's still an important issue. Was one of the driving forces for me getting in this race. I was sitting at home like a lot of people during COVID, and I was practicing law from home, but also I was the principal of my kids' little school here while they were all, on their Chromebooks trying to learn. And you see that's not a way to learn. Unfortunately, the kids have not gotten totally off the Chromebooks, even still. And so that was a driving force for me to get involved. It was also seeing, you mentioned earlier the sort of common sense values that 5 or 10 years ago nobody would question or think was provocative. But the concept of boys using boys' bathrooms and boys playing on boys' sports teams, and teaching our young children that George Washington was a great man and a hero to be idealized. 5 or 10 years ago, that nobody would question any of those things, but that's where we are now in the years post COVID, and that's not the Virginia that I grew up in. I grew up going to public school in Spotsylvania County, and I want my kids to have the opportunity to grow up in the same kind of Virginia I did, where you don't see people or judge people on the basis of their skin. We are all children of God. We're all Americans and brothers and sisters as Americans. And we got to get back to that mentality. And unfortunately, the radical left, which has really taken over the Democrat Party, is pushing that division, and it's unhealthy, and it's hurting the country and the Commonwealth.
And Joe, being our political strategist, is always trying to figure out the best way to understand how people are posturing for, to get people out there. So I know he has a question or two for you. Go ahead, Joe.
Thanks, Matt. Glenn, do you think the Republican base is going to show up in sufficient numbers Commonwealth-wide in this particular election?
It's a great question. We did for Governor Youngkin in 2021, and that was what got him over the line, and in my view, saved Virginia. Having Governor Youngkin instead of a second term of Terry McAuliffe was a godsend for Virginia and our future. In 2022, and Governor Youngkin will tell you this himself, a lot of our people did not come out and vote. And that's why the governor has been pushing this secure your vote early voting effort so strongly over the past couple of months. And all of us down ticket have, because you've got a lot of folks who they'll go vote for governor, they'll vote for president without fail. Sometimes they'll vote for Congress, sometimes not. And then these state house races in these off years, if it's not on TV every night, a lot of people don't recognize how much it affects them. But if COVID taught us anything, it's that these local races like school board and board of supervisors and your House of Delegates and your state Senate have a major impact on your daily lives. Because as we saw, when the other side was in control, they could shut down your church, they could shut down your business, they could shut down your kid's school, they could shut down your gym, et cetera. People are not looking to go back to that, I think, whether they're Republican or Democrat or independent. thankfully. But to turn our people out, that's why we're really pushing that message of you got to go vote early. I'm an election day voter. I think we got to get back to having election day. We got to get rid of the mail-in ballots. We got to go to the time-tested way of running elections. But the rules are what they are right now, and we gotta use them to our advantage. And we can't have the other side using 45 days to get their voters out, and then we rely on just election day. So that's that. To get our people out, the theme is Friday, September 22nd is the first day to vote, and Tuesday, November 7th is the last day to vote. It's not just election day now; it's the last day to vote. And you got to vote, preferably early if we can get folks to.
Thank you.
Sounds like the Secure Your Vote Virginia is a good initiative, and we're pushing that wherever we can as well.
Yeah, and like I said, myself and my team are outdoor knocking every day. Everybody else up and down the ticket, supervisors, school board, we are knocking doors. We're doing the blocking and tackling of sending the mail, doing the radio and the TV ads where we have the money to do it, and having the governor and his team really using their megaphone to reach out to folks to get them to vote early. It's a all hands on deck team effort here.
I'm going to ask you one more question before I send you over to Clint. He's going to ask you about some VMI stuff and where you may stand on supporting sort of the initiatives, the kind of things that we're doing. But it struck me, I didn't really realize that. I knew you were a lawyer, but I didn't know that you defended veterans, and the sort of extent of that. What led you to do that?
Well, I've been a lawyer for almost 20 years. I've done a couple of different types of litigation, and I was just very fortunate to pair up with somebody who was in the 101st Airborne, veteran himself, and had started this practice many years ago, and just a great lawyer, and now somebody who's a very, very close friend of mine and a mentor of mine, and I've just been very fortunate to work with good people in that area. And it's not as I mentioned earlier, a specialty a lot of lawyers focus on, but it's an area where we have really tried to create a niche that we are a full service law firm for veterans who need help when they're dealing with the VA.
Well, I'm sure veterans will support your effort, so thank you for doing that. Hey, Clint, why don't you ask him about some VMI stuff?
Sure, this will be one of the easiest questions I think that you'll get all week, Glenn. The spirit, the spirit of VMI PAC, I think, as Matt alluded to, was sort of back in 2020, we took the VMI as a whole entity took a throat punch from one side of the political aisle, and we waited for kind of some defense of that, and we really never saw it. There was maybe one letter from the president of the Board of Visitors at the time, but nobody really ever called him out and said, wait a second. So that's where the spirit of VMI PAC was derived from, having someone to be able, in a very respectful and in the proper way, to be able to defend the reputation of VMI. And when they castigate one of us, they're castigating all of us. When they call systemic racism, that paints us all with one brush. So the question is this: the spirit of VMI PAC supports the time-honored values of integrity, leadership, patriotism, and the citizen soldier ethos that are really the basis of what VMI is all about. Can we count on your support in the legislature and our quest, in the spirit of VMI's quest, to keep those values alive and well at VMI?
Yeah, absolutely. And something about me, I'm an Eagle Scout, and so a lot of those same principles are ones that raised me being involved in Scouts, and that I've got my boys involved in Scouts now as well, and going to make sure they get their Eagles. But VMI is sort of the vanguard of protecting a lot of the things that we care about here in Virginia. As you said, integrity, honor, and we have to protect that at the state level. And I will endeavor to do that. Absolutely.
Thank you very much. That's perfect. I think Matt's got maybe a follow-up to go on that, but that I couldn't have choreographed a better answer if we'd have written it out for you. So thank you very much from the heart and off the cuff. But Matt, back to you.
I was rushing to figure out the timestamp to get to that. 'Cause I need to get to that part of the video so we can capture that and put it up there for other VMI alumni to listen to. And this is why you need to support Glen Sturtevant. And this is why you need to support the whole battery of candidates that we're supporting. And we're doing this for a reason. We're not just doing it because we like Republicans, although we do, but there are Republicans we don't like.
Sure. Here's what the message I really try to convey to people of why this is such an important election is we're the only state in the union that term limits our governor to 1 4-year term. And Governor Youngkin is now halfway through his term. We've only got 2 years left with him at the helm, and we are not guaranteed another Republican governor in 2025. And so we have got to hold the House and flip the Senate this year so that we have those 2 General Assembly sessions with Governor Youngkin in the governor's mansion so that we can get Virginia back on the right path and get us set up for the next 10 years. Because we after 8 years of McAuliffe and Northam, we are a lot of our policies are a lot more like Maryland than they are like North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia. And we got a lot of work to do on a lot of fronts, but we can do it. And we've got somebody who is very smart in Governor Youngkin and a strong leader. And this is our shot is this year to get it done.
That's perfectly said. I think now I'm trying to figure out how to construct this video. I'm going to take that part, put it up front, and then so you did a great job. So we're really proud to support you. I'm sorry that it's taken so long. Proud to endorse you.
Thank you.
I was told by Senator Obenshain, said, Matt, you'll really like this guy.
Yeah.
And I said, okay, well, I'm looking forward to talking with him.
Yeah, Mark's a great guy.
Yeah. And well, I don't call him Mark because he's a senator to me. So. And soon I'll be calling you Senator.
No.
Again, so I appreciate what you're doing. We like to say VMI is good. It's a silly little tagline that we say because back with like Clint said back in 2020. If you would have picked up the Washington Post or had listened to anything coming from the State House, you would not have believed VMI was good if you believe what you're hearing.
Well, I think most people of goodwill and reasonable people out there recognize what VMI is about and the tradition and the heritage and the culture. And as a lifelong Virginian, the importance of protecting that and passing it on to the next generation. So VMI is good, and it's a place that we will make sure stays that way.
Awesome, great! I can't wait till you win, and we'll be back in contact with you guys. But I appreciate it. So we'll go ahead and close now. I don't think all I can do is mess this up at this point. So we'll go ahead and close, and then when you're off, we'll talk bad about you behind your back.
Yeah, that sounds good. Perfect. All right.
All right.
Thanks, guys. See you later.
Thank you,
Appreciate
Glenn.
it.
Best
Thank you.
of luck.
Thank you.
That's another one. Wow.
Telling you, man.
Another potential governor.
He contacted me. He said, hey, I want to talk to you. I want to tell you what I'm about. And I want the endorsement of the spirit of VMI.
Yeah.
All right. So, and I talked to Mark Obenshain a couple of times about it. And he said, yeah, you should talk to him. You're really going to like this guy.
He and all the rest of them saying the things that they're saying. I mean, they're taking that question blindsided. They don't know what the freaking question is coming, I mean, they can maybe imagine, but they really don't know. And then to come and fire back at you like he did just now, fabulous.
The veterans thing really got me. I'm like, holy smokes, really. Yeah, it's not the most lucrative area of the law. And maybe he makes up for it in volume. I don't know, or maybe, I mean, but it seems to me like it's a passion. So that's awesome. Veterans really need guys like him.
Well, people always talk about supporting veterans. He's freaking, doing it. So, right? I mean,